Okay. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yep.
Yeah, you bet.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, welcome everyone, and thank you for showing up and investing your lunch time with us today. We're going to be talking about the power of coaching, what it is, what it's not, and why it works. And whether you're new to coaching or are already immersed in it, this session hopefully will give you a deeper clarity, data, and direction. Yeah, as mentioned, today's webinar is the power of coaching. And coaching has become a buzzword, for a lot of us in business, leadership, and even life. But with popularity comes confusion. People often think coaching is about giving advice or worse, fixing someone. So the truth is, coaching is powerful because it's not about advice. It's structured, intentional, and highly human process, but sparks reflection, clarity, and action. And hopefully today you will see how that power works and why it's needed more than ever. We'll start by defining what coaching is. Then we'll debunk some common myths, share research-based outcomes, and dive into why coaching actually works biologically, behaviorally, and emotionally. We'll also explore how coaching is being used in organizations today and how it's evolving into a leadership superpower. Lastly, you reflect on how these insights might apply to your own life or work or business, as the case may be. And we're gonna ground this by asking ourselves an essential question: what is coaching? What makes it distinct from therapy, mentoring, or consulting? And before we do that, uh, just to hear a bit of a quote. The only person who is educated is the one who has learned how to learn and change by Carl Rogers. I thought I'd include this quote because it speaks a lot
Mhm.
to what we're trying to achieve here today. Um, so what is coaching really? Okay, coaching is a structured, goal-oriented conversation. It's purposeful, relationship-focused, and growth and forward movement. At its heart, it's a conversation, but a very intentional one. The coach is not a problem solver. The coach is a partner in helping someone think more clearly, choose more freely, and act more confidently. Imagine someone holding up a mirror, but not telling you what to see. They just hold the space so you can see yourself more clearly. That's what coaching does. It builds on three core skills. Number one, deep listening, not fixing and not interrupting. Powerful questions that spark new insight. Accountability, not pressure, but encouragement and follow through. And importantly, the client sets the agenda. So it's a key thing of coaching. It's not about giving advice or steering the ship. It's about empowering the person to steer their own. So you'll hear this phrase often in coaching. The client is creative, resourceful, and whole. That mindset changes everything. And that's how we approach coaching. So a little bit about what coaching isn't. Okay, so this is, I think, really, again, there's a lot of misconception around this. I see it every day being misused. And it's frequently confused with therapy, mentoring, and consulting, or even management. And while they all aim to support growth in some way, they do so with very different tools, assumption, and goals. So therapy, okay, we'll have to define a little bit what therapy is about healing, often focusing on the past and rooted in diagnosing and treating emotional or psychological wounds. Then we have mentoring, which involves someone with experience offering guidance and wisdom, essentially saying, here is what worked for me, and passing that information on. Consulting is about providing solutions and expertise. So a consultant is paid to know things and tell you what to do. And finally, managing involves oversight and evaluation, usually within a power dynamic, like performance reviews, as an example. Coaching by contrast is non-directive partnership. Coaches don't diagnose, instruct, or fix, okay? That's super important. Instead, they create a reflective space where the client explores their own values, goals, and decisions and stays accountable to them. This matters because when people expect coaching to be something else, like advice giving, the relationship breaks down, and clear expectations will equal powerful results. Before we move on, I'm just going to talk a little bit about myself. So, my name is Slavik, and I'm the executive director at Community Futures Lac La Biche, and I'm also a business coach, and hence we want to add that value and educate whoever, whether you're in business or whether it's work performance or if it's a corporate support or even life support. That's a wonderful thing about coaching, really. It can be applicable to all, and it's not exclusive of any one of those things. And I'll give you guys more details at the end, how you can, get in touch with our office, with myself at the end. And also, if you have any questions, well, let's just leave it to the end and we can have a discussion around that.
Okay.
Just moving on. So here is just another slide, basically. I think to me, it was super valuable because, again, it shows the difference between what coaching is and what it isn't, right? And it's comparing it versus therapy, consulting, mentoring. And, again, when I first got into coaching, that was the big thing that I learned was it's really the client really steers that ship, right? And they have the wisdom, the knowledge, the experience all inside them, okay? And an experienced coach will be able to get that out of the client. So, and ultimately, we'll talk a little bit about this later. This works because what it does is it takes and brings the ownership to the client themselves, okay? Because this way it's not coming from somewhere outside. The information is not coming from somewhere outside, it's coming from within, okay? Hence why it works, and we'll get more into that. Here is a little bit about research and why it works. So, this is, again, it's data. Here's a study by Olivero, Bain, and Copeland. Is one of the most cited in coaching circles. It tracked 31 managers in a U.S. city health agency. Phase one, they had all 31 managers attend a high-quality 3-day training workshop. Everyone learned the same material and gave it high ratings. After that, only some of the managers participated in phase two, which was 8 weeks of one-on-one coaching. Weekly 1-hour sessions help them set goals, problem solve, reflect, and stay accountable. So the results, here are some results for you. The training only group improved productivity by 22%, solid but expected. However, the training and coaching group productivity jumped to 88%. Coaching is what turned learning into doing. It helped bridge the intention-action gap. Think of it as the difference between knowing what to do and actually doing it. This is a prime example of how coaching transforms static training into lasting behavior change. So again, I like to include at least one stat for you guys so you can just see that it actually does work. And there's many, many stats that we could just bring, but we don't want to bore you guys, right? With numbers. So yeah, a little bit more on why coaching works. I mentioned a little bit. Why does it drive results beyond training, mentorship, or advice? Okay, and we can break it down by 5 key mechanisms that make coaching uniquely effective. Number one is goal clarity. Coaching conversations help people distill what really matters. Vague hopes become clear, actionable goals. When people know what they want and why their actions, lead them there, they become aligned to it, okay? Accountability, this is the huge one and probably one of the most important ones in my opinion. It's not about pressure, it's about partnership. So coaching invites clients to declare what they'll do and then reflect on progress without shame or excuses. This keeps the momentum going, okay? So them saying themselves and coming to these ideas themselves, they're more likely to actually stick with it. Again, super, super important. I can't stress that enough. Number 3, safe reflection. Unlike management or therapy, coaching provides a judgment-free space to think out loud. When people feel safe, they go deeper and discover more. Number 4, feedback loops. So here's another nice thing, right? You can, when you're getting coached, for instance, you talk about it out loud and you hear yourself and you actually process things in a different way. And you're hearing feedback on that. So yeah, coaching builds awareness over time. What worked, what didn't, what can shift. This creates learning cycles that get sharper with each round. And number 5, intrinsic motivation. Okay. This one is huge. Coaching taps into the client's own reasons for taking action, their values, aspirations, and purpose. That's the fuel for lasting change. And here's the kicker. Neuroscience backs this up. Coaching activates the prefrontal cortex, okay? The part of our brain responsible for planning, decision making, and behavior change. So when coaching is done well, it's literally rewiring the brain. And we're just going to get into this one is really neat. Again, this stood out for me. The formula for change. I'm not sure if you guys are aware of this, but there's an actual formula. It was developed by Beckard Harris Change Model, and it's widely used in leadership and organizational development. It tells us that change doesn't happen just because someone should change. People move forward when they, number 1, feel discomfort with the current situation, which is the D of the formula. Okay, D for discomfort. Multiply that by V, which is can imagine a better future, okay? And multiply again by F, know where to start, F. So they need actually a point of reference to, begin their new journey. Coaching supports all 3. It helps people name their dissatisfaction, clarify their vision, and break things down to small, doable steps. And once the momentum builds, resistance becomes less powerful than desire. So again, I really like this formula because just so you are aware, not everybody is actually coachable because some people maybe they're not as dissatisfied. That could be one thing that's missing for a formula, or they don't have a clear vision, or there's a lot of resistance inside them, for instance, right? Or the first steps, they don't know how to get there. So yeah, you need all 3 of these to get there, to overcome the resistance. How coaching builds momentum. So, this is just a cycle here in this slide. It illustrates why coaching leads to sustained action. First, the client chooses, not out of obligation, but ownership. So again, we take that keyword, taking ownership. That choice builds motivation. They gain self-belief. They take initiative, and as a result, they gain momentum. Over time, this becomes a loop of growth, one that coaching strengthens every time. This is how people go from stuck to self-led. So yeah, again, a very good graphic here, kind of, showing you that you have your choice and you take ownership, and that should activate prefrontal cortex, like we mentioned, which is the intrinsic motivation. And by doing repeated sessions and having a coach, you keep the momentum going, right? So yeah, moving on from perk to practice. Coaching used to be rare. It used to be a luxury reserved for senior executives or problem performers, but that's changing nowadays. According to Lee Hecht Harrison HR survey of nearly 500 organizations, 9 out of 10 companies now offer coaching in some form. 70% use it specifically for leadership development, and yet only 18% of companies have found formal coaching programs in place. What that tells us is coaching is valued but underutilized. The big shift, coaching is no longer seen as a corrective tool. It's becoming a core leadership competency. Managers, team leads, and supervisors are expected to coach as part of their daily roles. And it works. Coaching helps people feel seen, heard, and challenged, which increases retention and engagement. It also empowers people to make decisions and solve problems independently. Are you guys still seeing me good?
Yep, you
No
betcha.
problem? Okay. Yeah, and it works. So it also empowers people to make decisions and solve problems independently. That's super important. Again, it all goes back to being accountable and taking full ownership, which boosts performance and confidence naturally. But here's the opportunity. Coaching is still informal in many places. Nearly half of organizations offer it on an ad hoc basis, which means there's untapped potential to build coaching into the culture itself, not just the perks list. Okay, so let's just move on about some more myths about coaching. And these are some that are actually holding a lot from engaging in coaching. Myth number one: coaching is for underperformers. It's not true at all. This idea is totally outdated. Coaching is not a remedial tool. In fact, many organizations offer coaching as a retention and growth strategy for their top talent. It's about amplifying strengths, not correcting weaknesses. Myth two: coaching is too soft. Some people think coaching is just about feel-good conversations. The truth: coaching drives real results, improved performance, productivity, and engagement. It leverages neuroscience, goal-setting theory, and behavior change models. Myth three: managers don't need coaching skills. This one is huge. Coaching isn't a nice to have anymore. It's a must have for leaders. According to research, managers who coach build trust, autonomy, and initiative in their teams. Myth four: coaching is just like mentoring. Not quite. Mentors give advice from experience. Coaches don't give advice. They ask powerful questions to help clients discover their own answers. Coaching empowers, mentoring informs. Busting these myths opens up coaching for what it truly is: a tool for empowerment, growth, and performance at every level. Coaching beyond work. I had mentioned at the beginning, I cited that it's not just for corporate, it's not just for business, it's also for life and for health. We spend a lot of time talking about coaching in the context of work, which makes sense, but coaching has much wider implications. It's a way of being, not just a professional skill set. Think about your personal relationships, for instance. How often do we jump into fix-it mode or assume we know what someone needs? Coaching teaches us to pause, to ask instead of tell, to listen without loading our own story onto someone else's. In families, coaching helps parents support their kids' growth without overpowering their voice. In schools, coaching can shift the dynamic from teacher as authority to teacher as empowerer. In communities, coaching style communication builds trust, respect, and agency. The research backs this up as well. According to the Chartered Management Institute study, executives use coaching skills outside of work all the time. 28% coach in sports clubs, 24% in not-for-profits or community organizations, 17% in youth groups like Scouts and Guides. Coaching isn't just about goals and key performance indicators or KPIs. It's about how we show up in conversations, in conflict, in collaboration. That's why many people say once you learn to coach, you can't unsee the value of it in every area of life. Coaching from the middle, a manager's view. Okay, so let's talk about it from a manager's point of view, because a lot of the time they're expected to be the bridge between leadership and staff, performance and potential. The data shows something compelling. Around 80% of managers want to coach their teams, but very few feel equipped to do it well. They lack the training, tools, or time. And that's a problem because in modern leadership, coaching is no longer optional. When managers coach, they stop operating from control or compliance and start leading through clarity and collaboration. They have better one-on-ones, more productive team conversations, and healthier team dynamics. Coaching also helps managers shift from being the bottleneck to being the catalyst. They don't have time to solve every problem. They help their team learn to solve things themselves. That's a performance multiplier. And I'm gonna also jump into something that many of you maybe have not heard before. There's actually even something called group coaching. Okay, so group coaching is powerful and totally underused in today's work environment. It brings people together who may not know each other, but who want to grow. They may be new leaders, post-training participants, or working through transitions. The coach can hold the space for a team, but the group will do all the work. And unlike team coaching, which is tied to collective goals, group coaching values individual journeys in a shared environment. So you may even discover things about your team members that you hadn't known before through such an exercise. It's a very, very efficient way to improve your work culture or whether it's a corporation or your own business. Benefits of group coaching, here just a little bit more poignant. Now that we've clarified what group coaching is and how it differs from team coaching, let's explore why it works so well. Group coaching isn't just a different format, it comes with its own unique set of benefits, both for individuals and for organizations. So benefits for clients, group coaching offers a powerful experience of peer learning. Participants often gain just as much from listening to others as they do from being coached directly. This shared reflection deepens insight, and for introverts or reflective thinkers, it offers space to engage without pressure. Another major plus is affordability. Because it's delivered in a shared format, group coaching is typically more accessible than one-on-one coaching. That opens the door for more people to experience coaching who might not otherwise have the opportunity. So just some more benefits here. On the organizational side, the advantages are just as strong. Group coaching is scalable. It allows you to support entire cohorts, like new managers, high potentials, or post-training participants, without needing dozens of individual coaches. It also promotes cross-functional connection. When people from different departments or teams come together to grow, it breaks down silos and starts to reshape culture in subtle but meaningful ways. Critically, group coaching enhances learning retention. Rather than training being a one and done, group coaching creates continuity, a space to apply, reflect, and stay in motion. And of course, like I mentioned, it's more cost effective, right? So there's another thing to explore. For organizations looking to deliver meaningful development at scale, group coaching offers high return on investment, or ROI, as we say in the business world, with lower per person investment. Just moving on here. So we talked about coaching, what it is, how it works, and why it matters. But here's the truth. Even when we know this stuff, it's easy to get in our own way. Let's name some of the most common barriers, okay? The fix-it reflex. We love to help, but that help often comes as advice, which shuts down exploration. Coaching invites us to resist fixing and instead hold space. So here's an example. I need to have the answers. Many leaders feel they need to be the expert at all times, but coaching is about facilitating, not performing. The best coaches don't lead with answers, they lead with questions. Talking too much. Silence can feel awkward, but in coaching, silence is often where breakthroughs happen. Trust it. So it's very common actually to be in a coaching session. If you have a good coach, they'll ask you a question and they'll just hold space for you. It's very different than your typical day-to-day conversations that we're used to, because we always want to jump in and fill in the dead time, so to say. But in coaching, that's actually encouraged. Some of the best ideas come out of that. Fear of discomfort. Coaching conversations can go deep, and that makes people squirm, but the discomfort is often where transformation lives. Judging instead of being curious. If we go into a coaching conversation with assumptions, we limit what's possible. Curiosity is the antidote. These aren't flaws, they're just human habits. The key is being aware of them. If we can name what gets in the way, we can start to shift it. I'm gonna introduce, because again, this is just a brief webinar, the power of coaching. One tool that is really efficient, because sometimes we may be at a stage where we're not sure what's actually missing in our life, or in our business or in our organization, or for me as a manager, leader, mentor, etc. There's a tool called the Possibilities Wheel, and I'll show you an example of that as well on the next slide. It lets bring coaching to life without something tangible. The Possibilities Wheel is there to kind of fill that need, and that need, so you can express yourself better. It's a visual tool you can use in conversations or even solo reflection to help people explore a stuck point, a goal, or a crossroads. At the center, you place the coaching topic or dilemma. It could be, I'm not sure what to do about such and such. And around the circle, you invite exploration of multiple angles, not just solutions, but feelings, values, options, and support. And again, it's an unbelievably fantastic exercise to kind of stretch you and have you think about an issue or a problem that you're trying to solve, and you don't know how to get going, where to start even. So for instance, what's something you haven't considered yet? If you knew the answer, what would it be? What's one step that feels doable right now? The wheel opens up thinking, and which is super important for us to be creative. It's not about picking the perfect answer. It's about giving yourself space to see more than one path forward. You can use this with a colleague, a student, a team, or even with yourself during journaling as well, right? If you're doing that, which would be a good habit to have as well. And here is what it kind of looks like. It's a graphic, right? Just as described, it's a possibilities wheel. And I took, because we deal with a lot of entrepreneurs, just so you know, that's what we do. Our main clients are entrepreneurs, people who want to get into business, expand their business, etc. So I have an example of a client who is an entrepreneur. It could be a professional, both technically. And here are some of the things they could have on in the outer rings, okay, when we're talking about themselves. So for vision and direction is vision for your business or life direction. Do your daily actions align? And then you rate yourself, right? So you have to be brutally honest with yourself as well, you know. Honesty is key in this. For instance, strategy, how confident are you in your business model, pricing, and long term? Again, this is very specific to the type of people we're dealing with. Visibility, are you reaching the right audience with the right message? Finances, are you managing income, expenses? Time and energy, are you using time and energy effectively and sustainably? That could be for anything. Confidence, do you feel empowered, capable, and resilient in your current challenges? Personal growth, are you learning and evolving as a professional or entrepreneur? Balance, do your work and personal life support each other? So yeah, these are just some ideas, you know, that I've often seen when working with clients. So again, unbelievable tool that helps you reflect. This is especially used when the client just they don't have a central issue, problem, or challenge they'd like to bring to the session. So there is definitely something every single one of us can be coached on. Yeah, and we're going to talk a little bit about, we've covered a lot already, what coaching is, what it isn't, why it works, and where it fits in our lives and work. Now, let's land with action, because coaching isn't just a skill set, it's a mindset. And the best way to strengthen it is to start small, is to start now. Number one is like you're kind of doing already. So good for you for being here, because, but already says that you're looking to better yourself, right? You want to be a better version of yourself. Yeah, there are a few models out there. Some of them are Grow or Clear. The one that I've been exposed is called the Perform model. These give structure to coaching, conversations. Even doing a brief 5-minute one, with yourself, you can find these models. They're also readily available. You don't need to be technically certified, so you could just start practicing it, even with somebody close nearby, to help them. Yeah, practicing conversations. Try asking one good open-ended question this week instead of giving advice. That's again, a mind shift, right? So I just want to share that. That's kind of the best thing that I took away from coaching too. It made me a much, much better listener, and that's already a huge win. Trying to ask open-ended questions. Okay, so what would success look like for you? What's one step you feel you're ready to take? And you can do that with anybody. It could be your life partner, it could be your colleague at work, it could be your colleagues, your team members, etc. That alone will shift the energy, just that, your positioning. Step 3, champion coaching culture. You don't need a big title to influence culture. Encourage peer coaching. Open your one-on-ones with curiosity. Invite others to reflect, not just report. Coaching starts when someone feels heard and empowered. You can create that even in a single moment. So just to wrap up, and we can kind of open it up as well. If you guys if you have some Q&As here. Oh, I think people are still kind of joining. So yeah, let's take a breath and reflect together. Coaching is powerful, not just because it works, but because it invites us to show up differently as listeners, as leaders, as humans. As we close, I'd love to hear from you. What stood out for you today? What surprised you, if anything? Where could you see yourself applying coaching, whether that's in your work, relationships, personal life, your business? And what's one small step you're ready to take? Maybe it's asking more open-ended questions, like I had mentioned. Maybe it's pausing before offering advice. Maybe it's just listening. Whatever it is, own it. Coaching starts with presence, not perfection. And yeah, no, thank you for attending this brief overview of the power of coaching. And I hope that leaves you more curious about what it is, more empowered, and maybe even more equipped. If you guys have any questions, I can ask you some questions too if you want, or we can just kind of open it up based on some of the questions that are here.
I really like that, as opposed to like managers, maybe even in the workplace, that it's not, it doesn't need to be presented to pick out any problems that they have, with their kind of managing abilities. It's actually to help them grow. So that kind of takes the stigma away a bit. And I really like that. I hadn't thought of it that way.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's definitely, looking at things from different points of views and just being a really good listener and giving space. It's a
Mhm.
shift. It's a huge shift, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And I love the possibilities, Will.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll be using that.
Okay, I can send you a template if you like.
That would be great. I would love that.
Yeah, yeah. Whatever, we can assist you in that. Thank you for
Yeah,
sharing.
for sure. Yeah, you betcha.
Any other questions or feedback?
It's always a good reminder about listening to listen and not give advice or provide solutions. Because
Yes.
sometimes we just need to, somebody just needs to vent it out, just to talk it out. They don't want an answer, they don't want a solution, just want to be heard.
Yeah.
No, thank you for sharing that. And that's why I go back to you'd be amazed the type of things you're able to solve by doing group coaching, especially if you have a difficult team environment. Wow,
Mm.
that could be a really efficient tool, right? So yeah, and I don't think enough people really even know about that, We never even thought of it. Hey, this could be a solution for a very complicated
Yeah.
problem you may be facing. Yeah, 100%. Raheel, you wanna jump in here?
The main thing I like about this is, uh, like you mentioned about the coaching is not a therapy, not a mentoring or not a consulting. So that's very, good understanding to perspective that how we can indulge or take this coaching in our personal life as well as where we work. So we do not have to be an expert on it, but to be start coaching is just the first step how we take to ask for open-ended question. So that really helped me to understand the myth what we had in our mind, or you know
Mm.
yeah, so that's one main thing. Another thing is the resources or the possibility will. I'm sure I'm also gonna use the same thing in my personal life and as well in my work life as well. So I think it will really help me.
Yes, thank you.
Mm.
Right, sounds good. Does anybody have anything else they want to ask or reflect on before we close it off and send you guys eating your lunches?
Thank you very much.
No, thank you. And
That's
we'll
good.
also send out a survey. If you guys could take the time to fill out, that'd be fantastic. And we'll try to get some tools so you can use them immediately. Again, thank you
Absolutely.
for showing up.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.